You got your papers. Yeah. And we are live. We're live.
I'm here.
I was talking to someone this week, and they said that they now no longer like watching live broadcasts unless someone's banging papers and saying we're live. Like, it should be part of any live broadcast now. We have a trademark. I also said we should apply for the news at 10.
Yes, definitely should apply for the news at 10. I think they need us there. They need a bit of colour. Although you're very dark today.
I'm very dark.
Well, you've just got a black top on.
I've always got a black top on, Debbie.
Oh my God, how did I not notice this?
Have you not noticed? Have you never noticed? That's all I ever wear all the time for the last 3 years.
Like a fashion designer.
It is, that's it. It's to prevent design fatigue, also because I'm very lazy and I also like black. So anyway.
I'll have to watch back our past videos and go, oh my God, he is always wearing a black top.
Oh dear.
Ridiculous.
Anyway, so Debbie, what are we talking about today, apart from my clothing?
We're talking about repurposing content. Yes, exactly. We're going to show you how to repurpose your content, because I think what we're doing all the time, if we're on social media and if we're promoting ourselves, is we're creating all these messages and these contents and these videos and these lives and these blogs, and then we put them out and then we go, done. And then we just instantly move on to creating the next thing, which is relentless and kind of tiring. So really, we're going to talk about how you can take those great pieces of nuggets of wisdom that you've got and how you can use them across lots of different platforms or in lots of different ways, or reflect back to them, in months and years to come, so that you're not having to always be creating new stuff. Because if there's something that you said that was valuable 3 months ago, it's probably still valuable today, isn't it?
It is absolutely. And I'm guilty of this. This is like the amount of content that I post versus the amount of content that I've got literally sat on this computer right now to post. These lives, an example, I don't post them till like 3 weeks later. So it's that much stuff, and I just never get around to actually doing it. So yes, I'm guilty as well. So if anyone else is watching, they're thinking, yeah, I've got loads of content that I've not posted. Yeah, let's talk.
Oh my God, I'm not even talking about content that you haven't posted. I'm talking about content that you've posted, that you've just posted once, but you have stuff sat there that you've never even posted.
Yeah, video.
That's even worse.
I know. And there's loads of stuff that I can repurpose as well. I send out a daily email, right? Literally, I'm writing something every single day. The only people that see that are on my email list, which I like that it's exclusive. They've joined the list, but there's some nuggets in there that could be shared on other channels. I just don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the stuff about your daily emails is they're really personal. You give nuggets of wisdom, but it's a really good insight into you as a person. And we know that people buy because they like individuals and they connect with that individual. So I would love to see you going back through what day are we on? Like, I don't know, how many days into the year are we?
Day 180, I think. 180. It's halfway through the year, isn't it? It's July.
Have you got like one of those prisoner things where you're just ticking off every day of the year until you're like free?
I just go in, do quick email, and just literally put the next number on there. So if I've ever missed a number, then it's out. But yeah, I think it's 180, 181.
So that could be 180 pieces of great content that you could take out of those emails and turn into graphics, or turn into Instagram captions, or turn into lives. Like, some of it is really related to what was happening on that day. I remember there was one and your boiler had burst or your boiler had broken. You're talking about that specific thing. But a lot of them are evergreen, which means that they are not related to an event or time or, the time of year. And that means that they're always relevant. So there's so much great stuff in there you could be sharing, Bertie.
Yes, there is. So I should be repurposing my content. So don't do as I do, watchers and listeners. Debbie's great at this.
So what could you do? Like, what commitment could you make to make sure that doesn't just sit there? Could you say every week I'm going to share one thing from an old email?
I'm already on this. It's just
okay.
I haven't seen it on the front bit. So yeah. So what I've been doing is I've been using Trello to actually look through my content, where it's been posted, organize it a lot better to actually get it in a state that actually I know where things are and how I can repurpose it. So it was was like a big tidy up exercise that I felt I had to do first to get everything into one place. But now it's there, it's a lot more manageable. So that's been one of my projects for this week. And the reason that I'm doing it isn't because we were talking today. And I didn't want to get called out and have a little mini coaching session that everyone was just watching for getting told off for not doing my content. Because in my community next week, I'm talking about marketing, and this is one of the most important things. You know, it's great to create all this valuable stuff, but you do need to be getting out and posting it as well. So I've got to do as I'm going to be saying as well.
Well, that's great, isn't it? And just think, like, there's people out there that need to hear that piece of information, and they're out there searching in all the stuff that's there for somebody who's going to just help them get through the weeds so that they can understand what they need to do. So you're doing them a disservice by having all these videos that you've created hidden away on your Apple computer.
Just sat there, just for me to consume in my own private time. How narcissistic, just watching videos of myself in my private t-shirts.
Amazing. I love it. And then I think, like, ordinarily I would assume that people wouldn't have videos that they've recorded. It's just sat on their PC or their kind of Apple Mac. But the other thing is, once you've posted that content, there's lots of clever ways that you can share that in lots of different places. So one of my favorite things is a website called ifttt.com, and it stands for if this, then that. So if I do this, then do that. And essentially what you do is you create these kind of, they used to be called recipes, which makes sense, but now they're called applets. You create these applets that if you do a thing, it does a thing. So you can create one that says, every time I post an image to Instagram, also post the image to Twitter. And once you've set that up, it just happens automatically in the background. So it's just automatically happening. And another one that I use is every time I post to Instagram, it posts that image to a Pinterest board. And then if anybody ever clicks on that pin, it will take them back to my Instagram account. So then I'm likely to get more Instagram followers from Pinterest. So there's just a few little things that you can do that once you've set them up will just be happening all the time in the background. And that's kind of, if you can do one piece of content, you know, what is it? Kill two birds with one stone. Like, if you can try and do that as much as possible, then you're getting your stuff seen by more people, and you're not then having to create new original bits of content for all the different platforms that you might be on.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there is so many automations there that you can use to simplify this process, right? So I would always say to someone, if you're going to look at automations, maybe do it manually first, see that it works. And then actually, if you're doing something manually, you will be able to automate it. Like if you're doing the same thing over and over, as in, you know, like you post one thing and then you duplicate it here, 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 and here. There's always ways to automate this. So I have TTT, then there's Zapier, and there's another one, Automate.io. All do similar things, but they generally work with slightly different services. It's who's got the deals, essentially. But yeah, there's so many cool things around that. I mean, the other things we're going to talk about, I mean, like, for example, this live could be cut down into a blog post. There could be some teaser content. We could do the little snippets with the little audiograms. But there's so much stuff you can create just from a single piece of content. So and I think lives as well, especially, are a great way of doing it, because you generally don't have to do much thinking about it. Literally show up, do your thing. And it's great if you can find someone else that you can bounce off as well, because then it just takes that initial fear away. Like if I was showing up every week on my own, it'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to talk about this week. But you have, it just takes away that pressure. But you still have loads and loads of valuable content. Then you can take those snippets out, and they add value. They add value to people's lives. So that's another tip.
And while we're doing this this is done on StreamYard. It is put live into LinkedIn, into YouTube, and into Facebook. Then you can download the video, and that can become an Instagram TV. Then you could download the audio, and that can become a podcast. Then the content that's published on YouTube, you can then embed that on your website. You could use something like Rev to take the transcript off, and then that becomes a blog, and then that helps with your search engine optimization. So we're doing one thing for 10 minutes, but actually there's almost a ripple effect of that across lots of different platforms. And some of the things, you have to manually download the video and you have to manually upload it to Instagram TV and you have to put the YouTube video on your website. But actually, you've already created the content. So that's maybe 5 minutes to get that seen by more people. And that's really how you want to be repurposing your content. If I do a Facebook Live, then that the video gets downloaded, that becomes an Instagram TV, it goes onto YouTube, it gets embedded into my website. Like there's a whole trail of things that I do, because you don't just want to create one great piece of content and then walk away. It's like, actually, people on LinkedIn would enjoy this Facebook Live as much as they'd enjoy it on Facebook. So why not stick that video on LinkedIn? And I think some people are scared that you want to create lots of different content for all the different platforms that you're on. And I do hear that said. And I understand why that kind of makes sense, because you're like, we don't want people to get tired of you if they're on every single platform and they keep seeing Debbie showing up saying exactly the same thing. But most people aren't on every single platform. The people who love LinkedIn are just on LinkedIn and they're just stuck in their LinkedIn world. And the people that love Instagram are just on Instagram and they're there. And the people that love Facebook are just there. Most people aren't going in between them all. And they're still your ideal customer, aren't they? Exactly. Whether they're on LinkedIn or Facebook. They're still going to get value out of it. And I've never had somebody go, Debbie, I saw you on Facebook and then I went on Instagram and I saw the same thing. I've never had that. It's never been cross.
Small. Yeah, it's such a small portion of your audience generally see your content anyway. So
yeah, exactly. That's the other thing.
Are so rare. So yeah, there's lots and lots of different ways, and those things you were saying earlier about downloading something, uploading it to Facebook and YouTube. They're things you can do from automation as well. You can just set up a Google Drive folder. Like if this is something that you're doing every week and it's taking you 10 minutes, there'll be an automation that you can probably create in 10 minutes that will do all that for you. So you'll download, put it in a specific folder, and that then will trigger all of those actions, uploading to different places, creating different titles. There's all sorts of things you can do with that. So all of those things exist as well, Debbie. Look at that.
Oh my God. What? I'm like, what? I'm doing everything manually. There's a thing for that?
There's a thing for that. Even like podcasts, right? Like there's a piece of software that I've been using. We've not converted these 2 podcasts as yet. But once this is downloaded, I will drop it into a Google Drive folder that will top and tail it with a podcast introduction that will be ready uploaded. Like everything is then done. Those processes can be completely automated if you know what to do.
Well, people need to come and get in your get shit done club, don't they?
Get in my shit club. Get in my shit club.
Get in Bertie's get shit done club, because that's blown my mind. I'm manually downloading things and uploading things like a kind of old granny, like, I've got to do it like this. And there's a way that just happens automatically. Amazing.
All of this stuff can happen automatically. Yeah, automation's great. You don't know. How would you know you can do that? Like, it's just, you just have to.
This is the thing. When you run a business, you don't know all the things that you can do you?
No, you don't.
Like you just don't know, and you discover things and you're like, oh God, like why didn't I know that before? But it's part of that process of learning and working with different coaches and different people who show you different ways for doing things. And there's always going to be an easy way to do things, which means you've got more time to make homemade pizzas, get in your hot tub, go for a bike ride, all those things that make you happy. So you're not like me, manually downloading a thing and uploading it to something else, like watching the dots going, come on, go faster. So I love that. All right, I think we've covered it.
I think we've covered the subject. But any questions, even if you're watching this after the event, do hit it up in the comments and we will, of course, respond. So we'll be back next week. Thank you very much, Debbie. We'll be back next week for 10 minutes of all that stuff that you know what we're doing. Right, we'll see you later.
See you later. Bye.